Caught off guard by my wife accusing me of gaslighting in a text over a minor disagreement, I was floored. You never want to truly talk. After years of therapy and growth, how did we end up here? Is this the end, or can communication really improve? Summary: my wife and I unexpectedly had a disagreement today that began with her accusing me of gaslighting and manipulation through text messages. This accusation appeared to come out of nowhere. Am I irrational for believing that this is an unfair and unhealthy form of communication? I am open to hearing her frustrations and attempting to comprehend what is troubling her. However, it seems as though she merely wants me to concede that I am manipulative and gaslighting her, which I do not believe is true. Background: my wife and I met in late 2021 and got married at the end of 2024. During that time, we have experienced both highs and lows and participated in couples counseling. I have certainly had to grow and adapt my communication style to meet hers as effectively as possible. I think she has had to undergo some growth as well, although many of my primary concerns regarding our communication remain unaddressed. I would say that in the past year, our communication has improved significantly, and we have truly been strengthening and developing as a couple. Previously, we would have significant arguments that could escalate quickly, often resulting in my wife giving me the silent treatment for sometimes several days. In couples therapy, I learned to provide her with space. However, our therapist always indicated that for regular disagreements, a cooling-off period of a couple of hours or a day might be appropriate before discussing the topic in a way that avoids blaming each other, rather than letting 3 days pass without addressing the issue again. This often frustrated me because I rarely felt heard. I was emotionally drained from several days of silence, with only occasional texts accusing me of being or doing something terrible serving as the sole form of communication from her. I believe that, for the most part, my wife has been avoiding that pattern, which has greatly improved our communication. That said, one aspect of communication my wife seems unwilling to embrace is the use of I statements and approaching arguments as a team. I love her, and while you're only hearing my side of the story, I assure you that our most contentious arguments often begin and end with her adamant refusal to assign blame responsibly. She usually becomes upset with me when I attempt to employ active listening or I statements to break this pattern of communication. When I manage to get her to deviate from this style of communication, those conversations tend to become some of our best and most open discussions, but such instances have historically been rare. I feel rather blindsided by her today. I will now transcribe our text conversation from this morning. Additional background: we had dinner guests, friends of my wife, over last night, during which we had a small disagreement while preparing our home for their visit. I had important work that had to be completed yesterday, which I made clear on Friday that I would need to attend to on Saturday. I might have worked late on Friday night to finish it all then, but we had a meeting with a wedding planner on Friday evening. We got legally married last year and are planning a ceremony for our family. My wife also needed extra help with the preparations last night. Initially, my wife was very supportive on Saturday morning. She said she was proud of me, but around 12:30 she asked me if I could set my work aside and finish it tomorrow. I told her that I could not, but I would be done soon. She then slammed the door to my office, perhaps unintentionally, I am not sure, and left. Just before 2 p.m., she asked me a question about something, and I informed her I was wrapping up and should be able to assist in 5 minutes. After finishing my tasks, I went upstairs only to find she had left the house as the garage door was closing. I assumed I had missed her and tried calling her multiple times because I was unsure what was happening. I thought perhaps she had quickly run to the store, and I might as well do that instead. Given that I had just missed her and these were her guests, I believed she could continue with her preparations while I picked up any necessary items. I sent her a few text messages and started folding laundry to tidy up. After 10 or 15 minutes, I attempted to call her again. By this point, I had come to the conclusion that she was intentionally ignoring my calls. I checked her location since we share that information, and she was at a home decor store in town. I felt a bit annoyed because I had no idea what was happening and what she wanted me to focus on regarding preparations for her friends. As a result, I decided to head over to the home decor store myself and asked her what was going on and why she wasn't answering her phone. She essentially refused to respond to any of my questions and ignored me. I went home and determined to do what I believed needed to be done, reasoning that if it was not what she wanted, she had had her chance to communicate that with me when I tried reaching out. Over the subsequent couple of hours, we both seemed to move past the tension, and not much more was said about it, as we were both stressed and frustrated with the situation. Our entire text conversation from today. Wife message: the numbers indicate the total text messages, since there are many responses to specific messages that complicate the order. W1, link to an Instagram influencer defining manipulation, the first text message from today's. W2, and in 5 4 3 2 1 you will read it and immediately become defensive. M1, I suppose you are never going to respect the boundary I have set, huh? That is healthy. W3, another Instagram post from a different influencer, also defining manipulation. M2, yeah, I suppose not, thanks. W4, you are emotionally immature. M3, I have asked you not to send me Instagram pop psychology numerous times. I am unsure where this is coming from, but I will repeat myself. Please respect this boundary. W5, narcissistic behavior. M4, sure. W6, you are frightening when you behave like this. M5, if you want to discuss something with me, I am all ears. I set a boundary and you violate it whenever you choose. I guess that makes me a narcissist. W7, you sweep important issues under the rug, and this is why you cannot take accountability for hurting the people in your life. W8, it is always them, no introspection on your part. M6, in response to W7, I am always willing to talk. W9's, no, you are not. M7, in response to W7, I do not derive my mental health support from Instagram, nor do I want it. W10, you are only willing to gaslight and manipulate people. W11's, you are genuinely frightening. M8, in response to W7, I do not believe that sending me videos from Instagram constitutes addressing important issues. W12, that is not an attractive trait, to be honest. M9, in response to W10, you do not understand the meanings of these words. M10, and it is a serious accusation to throw around. M11, when I explicitly asked you to respect a boundary. W13, in response to M9 manipulation 101, turning people's concerns back onto them, you frighten me. W14, and yet you wonder why things have deteriorated in this relationship. This. M12, in response to W9, I am, that is not fair. W15, I cannot convey how unattractive this behavior is. It is incredibly harmful. M13, in response to W14, what? M14, in response to W14, I have no clue what you are talking about. W16, I am sure you do not. I am quite confident that you do not, in fact. M15, honestly, this behavior emerging out of nowhere is concerning. A few days ago, you told me how you wanted me to meet your friend. You said that I am your safe space. You declare that I am your home. You say all these things, leading me to believe we are doing well. Then today, out of nowhere, you begin texting me that I am manipulative and gaslighting. We had a minor disagreement yesterday while preparing for dinner guests. I was upset you were upset. I set my anger aside and helped tidy the house with you. We hardly spoke about it afterwards, so I just moved on. Perhaps you did not, which is fine, but you certainly have not attempted to discuss it with me. I do not regard your sending me random Instagram posts as you trying to talk about it. The only exchanges we've had today are that I said good morning, and I inquired whether you were okay since you were cramping last night. Then you criticized my haircut. The next thing that happens is you accuse me of being manipulative and gaslighting. Which is it? Which version of me are you referencing? Where is this outburst originating from? W17, it is not coming from nowhere. That is the issue. You never want to genuinely discuss anything, just gaslighting me for years. M16, if you have an issue, please come to me. Have you attempted that? W18, I have tried. You gaslight and manipulate, changing the topic and playing the victim. Every time. M17, in response to W17, I am telling you from my perspective that being bombarded with passive-aggressive Instagram posts does not feel like communication. W19, unattractive. M18, in response to W18, when? W20, every time. M19, in response to W18, about what? You have not made one attempt today. W21, including now. W22, the same behavior, the same response. W23, it is insanity at this point. M20, again, you have not attempted to converse with me once today. W24, it is unattractive as a trait. W25, very. M21, in response to M15, please reread what I wrote and consider it. I do not think you are truly hearing me. W26, emotional maturity is admirable. W27, gaslighting your partner is not. M22, in response to W26, honestly, this feels manipulative if I am being truthful. M23, in response to W27, again, how so? You have not spoken to me about anything except my haircut today. W28, I am sure it is you. It's the same behavior you have shown since I truly started to know you. M24, I literally have no idea what you are referring to. W29, I am unsure why I stayed, to be honest. W30, it seems like I am committing to a life of this, and I do not want that. M25, in response to W29, that is unsettling to hear. I am unsure where this is coming from. I am always willing to talk. W31, the concerns that troubled me in 2022 are still present and unchanged. More importantly, we have yet to have honest discussions about them because you constantly shift topics and portray yourself as the victim. W32, it was exhausting then, it is still exhausting now. M26, in response to W30, I am unclear what this is, but no one is forcing you to stay with me. I thought I made you happy. At least that is what you expressed a few days ago. I am not the source of any changes between then and now. Again, I am always willing to talk. W33, it was exhausting then, it is still exhausting now. M27, okay, if you ever want to be more specific, I am always willing to talk. W34, nonsense. W35, I have been expressing myself and you have been gaslighting me. W36, you are very, very manipulative. W37, I don't know my name, I do not know. W38, when you are pleasant and there is no conflict, you are delightful. However, your reactions to anything that appears or feels slightly critical of you leave much to be desired. M28, in response to W35, I have yet to see anything in your text messages that amounts to an honest discussion about what is bothering you, aside from labeling me as manipulative and a gaslighter. I do not believe that is accurate, and it does not genuinely feel like a conversation about your feelings, but rather like an attempt to place the blame on me. W39, because conversing with you in person is merely you manipulating the situation into asking for apologies afterward. W40, you are exhausting. W41, this is why I find this aspect of you incredibly unattractive. M29, in response to W38, I mean yes, I do not consider myself to be manipulative or gaslighting. I have yet to hear you describe anything that aligns with that. W42, sure. M30, in response to W38, that is the most you have said. W43, we should have honestly parted ways in 2022. W44, I hope there was more potential, but it appears there isn't. W45, this is who you are, there is no evolution forthcoming, this is literally it. M31, in response to W39, I acknowledge that you do things which hurt my feelings and I appreciate it when you apologize. I recognize that it is petty of me to request that during an argument. Still, it is primarily because I desire validation and acknowledgement that you did, in fact, hurt my feelings and that they matter. That is why I strive to apologize to you as well when I hurt your feelings. W46, if I am honest with myself, I cannot see myself being happy with a lifetime of this same version of you. I had hoped something would change or evolve, but it hasn't, and I doubt it will. M32, in response to W43, no one is compelling you to stay with me. I do not share that sentiment, I want to be with you. Yet you seem to be looking for an escape. W47, it is an Instagram video that exactly represents how I feel right now. W48, another Instagram video. M33, okay, I will not open it. W49, so call it a boundary or whatever. I cannot express it any more clearly than they did. M34, if you want to talk and express your feelings, come talk to me. W50, I want a divorce. M35, okay. W51, I do not believe this is functioning well. M36, I thought we were doing okay, but you are evidently unhappy. I will not force you to remain with me. I have given you every opportunity to discuss things with me. M37, it is difficult to process from my perspective. W52, and please do not send me long chains of messages, just as you cannot be bothered to listen to me. I want to reciprocate the favor. So that encompasses everything. Additional context is that I have been attending individual therapy since before we met, which I recently paused due to starting a new job. Both my individual therapist and our couple's therapist have stated that these text message disputes are unhealthy and that we should not engage in them. I concur, but my wife appears to disagree, and because she routinely refuses to discuss matters in person, this situation arises more frequently than I would prefer. Story 2. Caught in a love triangle, my best friend's brother confessed his feelings for me, but my best friend disapproves. I feel like I'm choosing between them, I cried. Now we keep circling back to each other but can't move forward. How do I break this cycle? I desperately needed to come on here because I am starting to go insane regarding my situation. I need assistance in moving on. Summary: my best friend's brother, male 30 years old, and I, female 27 years old, have feelings for each other. My best friend, female, 27 years old, disapproves. We are struggling to move on. We have been distancing ourselves and trying to meet new people. I like him a great deal and think about him constantly. Please provide advice on what additional steps I can take to move forward or address this situation. Thank you in advance. My best friend and I have known each other for a long time, dating back to high school. Throughout college, we have grown closer and now view each other as sisters. She has an older brother whom I met only a few years ago during our early college years. I had never encountered him in high school because he was away for college. I am frequently around her family and their friends, and I have grown comfortable with everyone, including her brother. At one point, I began to find him attractive and developed an interest in him, but dismissed the idea since he is her brother. I assumed the feelings were not mutual and considered it a ridiculous notion. After about a year of getting to know each other, he would occasionally text me after our group hangouts, and I did not think much of it. They were merely brief conversations. I assumed he was simply being nice since I am his sister's best friend. Fast forward a few months, we began texting consistently for a few days. He invited me out with his friends and sister, and I thought it was somewhat strange for him to invite me instead of her, but I went along with it. I also thought she was aware he was texting me because 1. They spend time together regularly, and 2. She had mentioned him messaging me before. Subsequently, he confessed that he had feelings for me, which had developed over the past year. I admitted I felt the same way but was uncertain about how to navigate the situation. He also mentioned that he did not tell his sister about our texting and assumed I had already informed her. We both recognized the necessity of telling her about our texting and our feelings for one another before proceeding further. I shared my perspective with her solely, and in summary, she disapproved of the idea of us being together. Ultimately, she was worried about the dynamics changing. If anything negative happened between me and her brother, it could damage our friendship. I completely agreed with this. Those were concerns I also had. From my standpoint, I wanted to make things work and remain optimistic. I believed that if a relationship developed between us, it could lead to something long-term, allowing me to have her as a sister as well as having found a partner within a family I have come to love. I know this is a long shot, but I am trying to think positively. I believe that her brother and I also had sufficient mutual respect that should we part ways, we could do so amicably, and I would still maintain my friendship with his sister. However, I understand that circumstances can change. I genuinely value my friendship with her, but I also care for her brother. This situation is incredibly frustrating because it places all of us in a difficult position. It hurts because it seems as though I am choosing between the two of them and I feel like the worst best friend ever. Conversely, I feel his feelings are being overlooked and I want him to feel prioritized, but I would be infringing on that boundary. After that conversation with her, we agreed that there was little we could do and that we should remain friends. We began the process of moving on for about a year. He was dating and focusing on his career, while I concentrated on school and work. I will be honest, it hurt to see him dating, but I understood it was necessary, and if he was happy, I was happy for him. We would talk occasionally, but there was no flirting involved. Recently, there were 2 instances in which we spent time together, and he texted me again both times to express that he still wanted to explore a relationship and was having difficulty moving on. The first instance, we shut it down and nothing materialized. The second time, he revealed his feelings to their parents without my knowledge. They suggested that we should talk to his sister about everything if it was serious. I expressed my discomfort with that idea and that she would likely feel the same way. My best friend eventually found out about the conversation he had with their parents and spoke to him separately. He told me that he did not really get a chance to express his feelings, and it did not go as expected. Again, she stated that she was not comfortable with the idea. To be completely honest, part of me was pleased he discussed it with them because, in some way, it feels as though he is fighting to be with me, which is something I have not experienced in a long time with someone I genuinely like. It is incredibly painful to watch someone I care for attempt to explore a relationship with me but continuously face rejection. We both have mutual interest and keep returning to one another, yet it truly feels like there is nothing we can do. We are all feeling terrible about our respective positions. She likely feels like a bad person for holding us back. He probably feels guilty about his emotions and does not want to jeopardize our friendship. I feel as though I must choose between the two of them while trying to consider both of their feelings. I am having a difficult time moving on and do not know what to do. I have attempted to put myself out there and distance myself from him, but it is extremely challenging. I like him deeply and think about him constantly. What should I do?